It's Friday Night Live with your hosts, Brother Methos and the Free, and recently escaped from the basement, Oni. And now for the car wreck of the show, welcome to the Cross and Fizz. And we are live with more air horn for Brother Oni for the ascended trashiness that he is. Oh, we are.
It's never enough air horn.
Never enough. Got it. So pleasing you, isn't it?
Nah.
Can't hear you, brother.
What is up,
There he is.
people?
Yay!
It's Wolf Brother Methos.
And I am Freak. And stand by for air horn goodness.
Need more.
Ascended.
You pump those numbers up.
Dude, what? No, you got the third air horn today. That's enough air horn for you.
We need to hit them double digits.
Oh my god.
Double digits?
I ate all my tempura. That was so good. I have another one, but it's spicy. Can't wait for that one. Ooh, you can mix with noodles? Ooh. I'm gonna have to get some more of this.
Leaves to go to the store right now.
All right, see you guys. Oh.
So, how are you guys tonight? What's going on? How are the people?
Pretty dandy. Pretty chill. It was a good busy day of work today. I can honestly say that now I'm getting in the groove of work, which is absolutely fantastical and testicle.
Good. I have to say, like I had a decent amount of sleep last night, but something about like the last couple days, it's been kind of stormy during the day. And just those rainy, stormy days, man, it just seems like I cannot get enough sleep.
You're like, that's coma weather, man.
Exactly. And I have been feeling the coma.
You got the coma?
Oh,
So,
man.
yeah, man, it's been good. It was a good week. It's been, like I said, it's been pretty busy for work, but it's been great, man. Hell, I even got some hobby in. I'm really happy with it. So just,
Man, I did not make. And this is kind of funny because this is usually we're the other way around. It's like, so what'd you do hobby wise this week? And usually I'm like, I did this. And you're like, well, I ain't itching it. This week I'm like, I for like this third, fourth week in a row, I got. I finished those bases I was working on last week when we were doing the show. I did those
that base.
cork bases.
Oh.
So that way I could, the guys who were in like the leaping pose. They had the option of me printing out resin, bases for them to stick on like concrete with some rebar that would kind of go up to their feet. But I didn't think like a resin piece of rebar would be as sturdy as I wanted. I wanted something more sturdy, like old fashioned, rocks and whatnot on.
Okay.
I have, I still have lots of gun shyness about pieces of resin contact points that snap,
I get it.
But on top of that, like the broken bits of building they were leaping off of didn't really match. Like I'm doing like just grabbing a couple of my other Ultramarines. I'm doing kind of grassy plains, for my Ultramarines.
Grassy plains?
Grassy plains.
Oh.
And so the broken urban, building pieces didn't really match in.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I did that, and then the sergeant here got the Thunderhammer Storm Shield combination.
Oh, I like that.
And so I've kind of got his, like, really tilted up. He's like 3 layers cork high, just he's got that kind of rising up on his thrusters kind of feel. So yeah, they're all cemented to their bases now, built up on Quark, and now I can go in, and I meant to prime them this week, but instead I just played video games all week. That's all I really did.
What have you been playing, man?
I have been playing a bunch of stuff. Well, not a bunch, a few things, but a lot. So like when I'm at the computer here, I've really been grinding on Final Fantasy 14, the MMO. I've got my samurai up to max level now. It's my second max level character, level 90. I started on I did a little more of the story quests for that because I'm not current, and I thought, getting my samurai up to the current level was a good excuse to start doing some of the story again. And then I started working on my Lancer. My Lancer was level 18 earlier this week, and I'm level 32 now. So that was enough for me to finish Lancer and start on Dragoon. And then I decided I had a rogue that was level 26. So I went ahead and got him to 32 as well. And then I saw I only had one melee DPS left, which was Reaper. So I started Reaper. They come at 70. And that's kind of like a combination, demon magic and scythe wielding. Oh, and since I got the rogue to 32, I got my soul stone for them too, which is upgrades from rogue to ninja. So now I've got a max level monk, max level samurai, a 32 ninja, a 32 dragoon, and a level 70 reaper with the scythe. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome, man.
My other game I've been... Oh yeah. I don't know, I've just really been finding my love for Final Fantasy 14 again. And then away from the computer over on the PlayStation, I'm trying to, I say get through, but I don't mean it in a negative way. Like, I'm enjoying the heck out of Cyberpunk 2077. Rock of the Roxas, my man. Yo. I'm loving Cyberpunk 2077. And we recently, a couple weeks ago, we got in Final Fantasy 16, which I want to play, but I don't want to stop a 100-hour game for another 100-plus hour game. Because if I go off and I play Final Fantasy, I'm never going to come back to Cyberpunk, right? That's going to be like all those hours just like dropped, And I want to finish Cyberpunk, so I've been playing the heck out of that. It's funny, I was less than 40% through the story, but I have all of the zones on the map cleared out. So 5 zones, all of my police scanners and crime reports are cleared out. All of my gigs and side missions and, merc jobs are cleared out. Yes, I am going samurai tomorrow. In fact, the only piece, because most of the gear is shared with my monk, I bought the katana that's the 640 katana, and so now it's my samurai is exactly as geared as my monk. So yeah, I'll be going samurai. So yeah, like all the side missions, gigs, all of the police scanners, all of the buyable apartments, all of the buyable vehicles, all cleared out on the map. My stats, I'm at max street cred, and I'm at max level. And like I said, I'm less than 40%. I was less than 40% through the main story. So, and I finished off all of my romance storylines. So. So now I feel like, okay, now I can focus on the main story. This is one of those like games, not quite as open as Skyrim, because Skyrim, it's a whole world, and this is just like one city. But it's kind of the same thing where you go into the world, you get your main quest, but you can really do anything. And so you go off and you do all these extra stuff, And so that's what I did. And I'm going a street samurai kind of build. So I've got katana and pistols mostly, and mostly it's all my katana work. And I've got I'm all chromed up from implants. So I've got like these legs that give me double jump, and my favorite implant is my Sandestivan or Sandy, which is the implant from the anime Cyberpunk 2070, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which gives you super speed. And when you go super speed, the rest of the world kind of slows down for a few seconds, you know? And so it's just like people will attack me, and then I'll just go super speed and the world slows down, and I just end up behind them and I just cut them down with my katana. And it's so satisfying when I can defeat all the enemies in the area and then sheath my katana before super speed stops. It's really cool. You got to try it sometime, man. I know it got a bad rap when it first came out for being a bit glitchy, but it's such a good game. And then thirdly, as far as games go, a certain badass bought me Payday 2 this week. And I got it installed earlier today, and I'm looking forward to giving it a try this weekend. Thank you very much for that, brother.
Absolutely, man. Can't wait to play it with you.
In fact, I'd logged on to the computer just before we were ready to set up for the show, and saw the little notification in the corner that such and such has been installed and updated, you know, and is ready to play. And I'm like, ooh.
Has Lily already installed it yet?
I'll have to ask.
He's like, I ain't installing shit. I ain't playing that crap.
She said she went to install it so that way she could play during the show, and it said downloaded install time 3 hours, and she's like, oh, she didn't want to cut into the internet while I'm doing the show. So
God.
She said she'll be downloading it after we're done with the show.
That's cool. I'm really excited for her. Like I think I'm more excited than she probably is. I mean.
So that is my week. Like I said, I didn't do, aside from the basing on my Assault Marines, I really didn't do any hobby this week. 3 times I put, you know, because last week I said I had done the first of my Desolators with the missile launchers. So 3 times I've sat down at my desk and put the Desolators, the remaining 4 Desolators in front of me so I can paint them. And each of those times I looked at them for a little bit and then put on a video game instead.
It's so easy to do. I mean, it's just one of those things that's like, man, it's like, you know what? It's like, I just feel like I need to just go a couple of levels, you know? It's like, it's just one of those things, man. I know exactly how you feel. I've been dealing with that for a long time.
It's like, I don't want to brain. I just want to mindlessly click. I think Superfly once worded it best to me. He said, sometimes the hardest part is just like picking up the paintbrush and getting started. And then once you start painting, you feel fine doing it. But it's that getting started part. Do you want to show any work in progress? You said you've been busy this week, and I saw you done some work on them badass heavy intercessors.
I don't have any pics yet. I can show them here.
Got the one you sent me in Messenger. You could pull up.
I guess so. Let me see. Man, you know what we hadn't done in a while was Art of the Week.
Art of the Week. Oh man, when I go into other people's live streams, that's like the #1 thing they mention. Like, hey, Wolf Brother Methos. Man, it's been a while since you guys did Art of the Week, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I got on the the Discord and I found a couple of pieces. They look a little older, but yeah, we definitely need to get back at that. Man, I missed that. All right, let's see here.
Well, if you want to commit to it next week, I can go ahead and start gathering some artwork.
Absolutely, yeah, man. Art of the Week, bro.
Yeah, I think that's really the only thing is we hadn't really made time to sit down. We used to plan the show out all the time.
Plan?
And
what's that? What's this
yeah,
planning?
We may have gotten away from the sitting down and planning the show. Except this week. Greek called me this week and we did a bit of talking about the show ahead of time. And so, we actually have a
little stuff.
Yeah, a couple of core topics to talk about, as you can see from the thumbnail.
Okay. So this is my whip.
His
Oh shoot! Hold on, because they're gonna ding us again. I forgot. I still have. Oh, damn it. They apparently ding us for this. Shoot! Hold on, and this is gonna be loud. Hang on, guys. Bear with me. Turn the air horn off. Turn the mega off. All right, bear with me, because I gotta. Apparently, that sound piece they're giving us crap about, even though it was supposed to be free. And
no, which sound piece specifically?
Okay, so it's matter of fact, a lot of gamers use it. A lot of war gamers use it. It's that don't, you know, that really kind of a military sounding tune rather, and that's the one that we actually got dinged on the channel. By Ben Sound. And
oh, okay.
So yeah, they gave us crap about that. So I'm gonna change it to this.
Yeah, it was crazy because it was just like all of a sudden we had no strikes on us, and then like one day I pulled up the stats and it was like, you know, you have like 7 of these Ben Sound.
Yeah, and it was like, God, really, dude? So I'm gonna mute this epic music. That's that one there. All right, so it should be fine now. There we go. Much better. Okay, there we go, guys. A little bit of yellow love there. So, I pretty much finished painting them. They're not the best. I hadn't painted in quite a while, so it's not my best work. And, of course, I just wanted to get them on the table. But now I got to work on the basing. What's really cool is that some of these bases, I printed it on the printer. So, because I ran out of my, you know, my bases. So anyway, so yeah, I got to do some cork work and make it look beautimous.
They look cool to me, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. You're too kind. But yeah, man. I'm pretty happy for the most part.
I was saying on the show a couple of weeks ago that in general, I've never been that crazy about the color yellow, but there's always something about the way you paint yellow that just makes it really cool looking.
The neat thing about it is that it's not a static yellow. It's a very dynamic yellow. So in every place that you look, it's not one color. So it's like on the shoulder pad. This area of the shoulder pad is going to be slightly different than an area, let's say, that you would see on the backpack, right? Or even on the helmet, or even on the knee pad or the leg. So it's very dynamic, which I kind of like. Let me switch it back to. Hopefully it does not back up on us.
I wonder if my aversion yellow comes from racism I received as a kid.
Oh, gosh.
Sorry, psychoanalyzing myself.
Right. So yeah. So let's see. So you can kind of see if I can get it to. Don't focus on me. Focus on that. And
looks good.
Yeah,
it's actually well focused. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll focus. You know, it does focus pretty well. It's just the lighting. You know, it's meant for a little darker imagery. But yeah, man, it actually. The backpack's kind of my favorite. The back area. Let's see if we can get it to.
Oh yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, so it's got the and basically I modeled them after my other intercessors because that's how I did my intercessors, with the metallic rim around the edge of the center part of the backpack and the very top, like right up here, and that kind of gives it a really cool, you know, I don't know, gives it a really neat look. So yeah, they turned out pretty well. I like them. So. Like I said, I got to work on the basing, and then I have to go, you know, I think that'll do it. And then I want to see if I can work on those aggressors.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
I need to, especially since you're hobbying again, I need to take advantage of this time and really kind of kick myself in the pants and get back to doing some hobby. Maybe if we get some time, you know, I can borrow some of your motivation and paint while you're painting.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So aside from that, I've been playing some more 7 Days to Die. That's been a lot of fun. So Alpha 21 is out now. It's and they've got some really, really cool features. You know, this typical zombie shoot 'em up, and then you got to survive kind of thing. It's a survival game, right? So it's just pretty neat. So really cool things. Of course, the game that you were talking about earlier, Payday 2. I used to play the crap out of Payday 2 with Nina and other people, and we just had a good old time. The thing is, Nina's computer broke, and of course she was in the middle of the divorce and all this other crap. Now she's happily married. Now she's got her computer. So I'm thinking, you know what? And it's got the summer sale. This is the cheapest I've ever seen that game ever drop during the summer sale. I'm like, oh my gosh! So I had to snag a couple of them and then gift them. So I was really, really, really excited about it. It's a fun game. It's a really, really fun game, especially when you're if you like games like Left 4 Dead or Back 4 Blood and things like that. It's kind of similar to that, but you got to really think things through. It's kind of neat because you get to hone in your play style, very similar to Final Fantasy, but you have to really find your play style and really make it work for you, because there's a lot of perks that go into that particular play style. So if you want to do stealth, you have to put all of your perks in trying to be stealthy and make sure that you have your all your equipment that you get for that, and your skill tree, kind of lines up with your stealth way of playing. Same thing with like being a tank. Make sure you're armored up and all the other. Anyway, it's really, really cool. Nice. And then once you're playing, it's not one of those things where you're like, all right, let's go. Leroy, yeah. You can't be doing that. You can, but it's you have to actually kind of scope the place out, for the heist, and then plan it out. Do you want to go stealth, or do you want to go, banging and loud? Diggity. And so I figured, it's really cool. It's a great game to play by yourself when you're trying to learn it, but it's so much more fun when you're playing together. So it's even a fun game playing by VR. So I played it. I played it in VR too. It's pretty wild. So, but yeah, and you can turn off the bob, by the way. So that's something that I know Miss Lily can appreciate that, because I know she's kind of doesn't like the whole movement thingy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man, it's a fun freaking game.
Nice.
What else? What else have I done? But yeah, I think that my fists have got a little love this week, which I'm pretty happy with. And
you have been doing some research.
I have been doing a lot of research, because my biggest issue was my fear of 10th. And so I've been doing a lot of, what are we gonna get ourselves into in 10th? What are some of the issues that I think we'll run into? What are the hiccups, the hangups? What are people saying? And I think we're now at a position, or at a point, where 10th has been out for some time now and has gotten some play. And I was curious to hear what others said. Now, of course, there's a lot of content creators that will, first thing they'll say, "Oh, 10th is garbage," and GW really screwed the pooch on this one, and very, very, very negative, And of course, they have some valid points, where there's some changes that were not very amazing, that were not very kind of, wait, really, what? And I guess we'll discuss those here in a little bit. But in the other hand, there are some changes that I like, because it made it, the game was more simpler, very simplistic. You got everything on the data cards now. Everything's easier now. You can do everything by the app, or you want to get the hardcover, right? Little things like that. So gameplay, has changed a bit. I don't believe it's going to be the showstopper that some people are expecting it to be. For filthy casuals like us, I think it's going to be pretty much right up our alley. It's like everything else. It's a different game for the most part, and we just have to adapt. But yeah, like I said, we can discuss. We'll be discussing those changes here in a little bit. And again, will it be changes for the good, or will it be changes with the bad? Will they come out with erratas already for those Q&As? You know, are they?
Which they've already put out one.
Exactly,
like 12 pages.
Yeah, so it's a they're hearing that, you know, that there's some things that are, you know, people are not liking, and you know, and I'm even hearing, and I haven't been able to substantiate this claim, but some places are banning, you know, gameplay. That's how crazy
true.
it's. Yeah, so
the same places in Germany, I guess they got a hit of that power when they got the Leagues of Wotan.
Wotan,
banned.
yeah.
So now they've banned 10th edition in some of those places. I'm like,
yes, wow. It's like, wow, man. It's like, what really. I don't, and that's more, okay, and of course that's more in the tournament scene, right? The competitive scene.
Sure.
But for, you know, nasty, disgusting, filthy, dirty casuals like us, you know, I really don't think it'll be as impactful on our way we play. And so I'm really excited to start off with our first 1,000 point excursion, you know, our first game, and to see how it worked. I got to see a good video on 10th. Yeah, I mean, it's I'm really, like I said, I think it's just very little minor things, little quirky things that I'm hoping that they can identify that they may need to change, and they can update it, you know, which I'm sure they'll do that. You know, because here's the thing, nobody wants to play a broken game. So if there's anything, you know, like if it's gonna make people say, you know what, screw this, I'm gonna go play something else, you know, and that's exactly what they don't want, because then that's loss of revenue. You know, you can't sell models if nobody wants to play them.
This is true.
So.
Our brothers from the UK, Waylander, says those doom scrolling super negative channels get more views than you or I do. Hate makes money, my dude. Absolutely. In fact,
so right.
Freak and I were just talking about that kind of sensationalism earlier, and how, you know, doom and gloom, you know, gets the clicks and views. Rather watch you guys and make my own positive content, though. Thank you so much, brother. Yeah. You definitely. I always think, you know, preaching the hobby positivity is the right way to go.
I mean, that doesn't take away, you know, that there is some negatives with some.
There are some
gameplays.
points,
yeah.
Sure.
But it's we're not here to say, GW screwed a pooch, and they're gonna drive people away and we're done, you know. Let's go to something else, you know. Screw GW. You know, that's not.
And as usual, you know, our policy for a while, we're not going to drop, because we're going to talk about some of the spectrum here, because you know, in our research this week, because we haven't, admittedly, what we're going to be talking about tonight is just, you know, our us absorbing information, just researching, because we haven't had a chance to get together and play a game of 10th yet. So this is not going to be just our opinion. This is just going to be A, what we see on paper, but also B, what's the community saying. But as is usually our policy, we're not going to bother dropping the names of hate mongers, you know, because they get enough sensationalism on their own. Right. But those that we think do bring up some good points, or, you know, even bring some positivity to the table, you know, we're always happy to share those.
Yep.
For the positive side, and where we've seen some really good stuff, for sure, call out bad decisions. Hell, I call out pre-order shortages all the time, and it has to be deserved. Exactly. And what Freak and I were talking about earlier is just that, you know, people who just do the hate mongering just for the hate mongering, you know, in fact, one particular person we were talking about, again, we're not going to bother naming them because no point in pushing their content more than needs be. But totally. They actually are they know that their target audience is, the hate mongering of GW. And so whenever they do have to bring up a good point, like, to GW's credit, they always preamble it with, I know I'm going to get some hate for this, but there is some positive. Okay, you've built up a toxic community when you're afraid to highlight the positive things,
Right. And you're forced to do that because you need to be non-biased, but you are biased, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
happy freaking Methos Friday. Happy Friday, Mr. Fish.
Happy Friday, man.
Good to see you.
It is a good Friday.
Hellchild says, Good to see you, brothers. So one we did want to talk about was the most positives we've seen on the subject has been tabletop tactics.
Mm-hmm.
They have very much approached this all from a very fresh, new, let's take a look at this new edition and see what we can enjoy out of the new edition. They do exactly what I wish I could do better more often, and like, okay, this is fresh, let's learn what's here now without comparing it to what was before. Right. They're looking at it all with, giving themselves the fresh eyes. Mm-hmm. And admittedly, I have trouble doing that sometimes because I feel like, oh man, I lost this or that, or and it shouldn't be what I lost or got. It's, it's like, this is completely new. Let's look at it from the beginning, But they've got their own How to Play 10th edition out, and it's a kind of it's not super in depth. It's like the basic How to Play 10th edition, but it's been good to watch and kind of absorb some of the differences so far.
I highly recommend them because not only just that one video of 10th is extremely helpful, in its basic way, but all the videos after, they're fantastic because they cover more of the rules. Not only that, they actually do things like, we're gonna skip. They'll say, we'll skip the shooting phase and we'll go right into the fighting phase. And that way you can see how that works. And they're really good about that. Oh, here's something new in 10th, and they'll explain it. So they do a really good job of kind of honing in and isolating the changes in 10th edition, so you kind of get a good grasp of the game. So go check it out. Methos, you're linking it, correct?
And I'll link it. And they've done a good job of carrying that into their battle reports too. They'll be like, this is a 10th edition battle report, and this is new in 10th edition, and then they'll highlight what they've done.
Yeah.
Also, we're linking them for the love of them and what they've done with their channel so far. But these guys are a massive channel, and they don't actually need our help, but we love what they've done so far. They have 177,000 subscribers.
They don't need our help. But hey, you know what? Still, we support them, and because they're positive, they're funny. I love watching them. They got great content, and of course, they're really high tech, which I really like. So
good old Lupus. Good to see you, Lupus. Lupus is in the chat, sharing lots of love and asking people to hit that like button to show us some love. Good to see you too, Lupus. Thank you so much for your support, as always. Waylander says, have you guys even gotten in a combat patrol game? We actually have not had a chance to play any 10th yet.
Nope, we were just talking about that. Yep.
Yeah, we were looking for a time period we can get together to do some recording. Also, we also wanted to get together to do the recording for the, we want to do a separate video for, sending Roxy some love with, rebuilding her orc army. And, we want to get together and film that as well.
Yeah.
Fish is planning so much, and he has a game already set for Sunday. Now, this is a man who's really
congrats
diving into 10th head first.
That's awesome. And you know what? By the way, guys, we definitely invite your opinions on 10th. This is not just, oh, you're coming straight from us, and y'all be quiet, peasants. No, man, we want to hear from you. I'm really am. I'm curious to see what are your thoughts. If those of you have already went headfirst into the game, what is something you think you like? What are some things that you did not like? Super important that you share that with us because I'm curious personally, and I feel that the rest of the class can benefit it. So,
absolutely. The other one. Now we talked about one who's showing 10th edition a lot of love. And Fish, I know, like I said, you've been like really spearheading some of this 10th edition goodness. Let us know what your thoughts are on it so far. The other one that actually Freak had found in his research and decided to share is a really well thought out hour-long critique is Fireside podcast. And they've got a 40K podcast series, and their latest episode, they called it a damning critique of 10th edition, but it's not a hate-mongering series. They make sure to issue several times in the podcast that they are longtime fans of 40K. They have a lot of love for the game. 9th edition was their favorite, so it's not like they just want the old way. Just as recent as 9th edition was their favorite edition of 40K, but then they didn't want to be a trash talking, emotional response kind of just spewing out venom about 10th. So what they did was they went out and wrote an entire bullet by bullet what they thought was articulating with things that could use improvement in 10th edition. And so, why they feel like it's not as good as 9th in their opinion. Mm-hmm. And I think done in a really professional, not non-hate mongering way. I thought it was a really good contrast to the really positive, 10th loving aspect of tabletop tactics. And then you had this side that was like, we actually like 9th better, but here are some really well thought out points of why and what. And on top of that, you never like when somebody brings you only problems and no solutions, right? Just like, I hate everything you've done, but you don't know why, right? So not only do they have well thought out, articulate points on why they don't like 10th as much as 9th, but also what they feel like could be done in 10th edition to improve it.
Right. I just liked it, so that's that one.
There we go. Excellent. Haven't got into a game yet. A little overawed, to be honest. Haven't played anything since 4th. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a big break from 40K.
Who was that? Oh, Waylander?
Yeah, Waylander. Hasn't played since 4th edition.
I would, of all people, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are when you start playing it, man. I'm excited for it. I really am. I can't wait to actually kind of dig in, especially after watching... tabletop tactics. They're just very inspiring, and it's like made it very simplistic. For me, I'm a visual learner, so I can hear it all day. I can read it all day, but if I don't see it applied, it's like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's actually really cool to kind of see. One of my favorite that, when I first started getting into Warhammer was learning how to play with Jay. You guys remember that? I mean,
oh yeah.
I learned so much from that guy, and I don't even know where he's at or if he's even playing anymore. I don't know if he has his channel. But yeah, I would sit there and I would dissect it and listen to all these guys watching his gameplay. And he had, oh my gosh, I think it was like a 10 video series or 12 video series of how to play. It was fantastic. You know, but that was for 7th edition.
Yeah, that was 7th edition way back. I remember, because you and I have the same way of learning, I remember just digging and digging and digging as many how to play 40K YouTube videos as I could find. And when we landed on that one, that was like striking gold. And I'm a kinesthetic learner. I need to actually play and learn hands-on.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, I respect that. Yeah, I learn best by doing.
Mm-hmm.
Watching is like my second best, and then like reading and listening is like far below those. Hey, Roxy, we just mentioned you a minute ago. Good to see you, my
Our
friend.
ears are burning. He heard us.
I like games. Also in the house says, "Oi, I'm building an orc looted knight."
Nice.
That's going to be. I love seeing those conversions. That is awesome. Okay, going back a few. Fish says, "Do I do the Oops All Commandos with burners and tank busters list, or the double dreaded stompa list? Because towering is so broken as a rule. Towering is very good. Knights are doing very well because of that, and double stompa could be get that same kind of awesome advantage.
Go big or go home, baby.
Next month is our 3-way 9,000 per team all-out brawl, which is going to be all stompas and planes. Weekends, Waylander says, geez, 9,000 points, 3 ways. That's got to be an all-weekend job.
Insane, man. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's the kind where you got to lock up, everybody go home, everybody come back to the locked-up room and plays at the same time.
Yeah. You can't take your stuff home with you.
I'm hyped for 10th, even if I get my butt handed to me my first game. Some units definitely play different. Oh, for sure. I think that's one of the things I'm most excited for, like you mentioning with the Snickerot list and whatnot. One of the things I'm most excited for is going back to like some of the cool stuff we learned in 8th and 9th with some of the abilities and the special abilities certain units and leaders have. And also going back to the 7th edition, like putting your leaders in the squads,
Yep.
which is what we're doing in 10th now.
Yep.
And the kind of
that,
cool opportunities that can give. So I'm excited to see that back.
Yeah. So now the characters can join a squad, and they will affect that squad, specifically, and I think that's great. I'm curious to see because you have those buffs, man. They go a long way. So we'll see how that works out.
We talk about orcs, and of course, a wild Marcos Castellanos appears.
Another one that heard. Yeah, he came out of the woodwork.
I told Roxy that we were just talking about her. She says, "I must have felt it in the ether." There's a disturbance in the force. I'm iffy about playing. Mentioned it last time. I don't understand how it's still one player at a time. Even Heresy Epic is coming out, and they said it'll be alternative reactive. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, a lot of people don't like the I go, with everything, and then you go with everything. And admittedly, that does lead to some bad feeling. I will never forget this one 7th edition. I think I have the most PTSD from this game. And I use the word loosely, obviously it's not real PTSD, but I have the most trauma from the 7th edition game where my brother Cloud went first, and we were playing an 1,800 point tournament game. And after he went, I had just a little over 900 points left on the board. It was literally 1,800 points playing versus 900 points that game. It was such a terrible feeling. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Triptide was hardcore. However, it was on me. We counted, and this was after I started counting. Who knows how many ones that I rolled before I started counting. I had to be at 12 by that point, by the time I started counting. I rolled 61 ones throughout that game. It was mind-boggling how many ones I managed to roll. Fish says, I want to do double Wereboy and a double kill rig with double Wereboy for all them mind bullets. Oh, man. Lots of psychic shenanigans there. Roxy says, as a millions of voices cried out, and then silence. What I will say about Leviathan is that the minis are very nice. Oh, man, the minis from Leviathan do look amazing. I especially love the look of the new Brutalis Dreadnought. I would love to get my hands on that thing. I will definitely have to put that on my wish list after the Brutalis comes out separately. I've painted the Captain and Apothecary, plus the Termies, and an Inferno Squad. Nice to build and nice to paint. That's awesome. I am excited for some of these minis. By the way, let me go ahead and link that. So you guys know that at all times you can find our friends of the Frost and Fizz down in the links or down in the description below. It'll be a link tree to the Friends of the Frost and Fizz, and you can find Waylander there all the time. However, I do want to go and put up one of his recent videos because he is painting up Space Marines in all of the new colors, and of course, which, you know, as people are getting ready for painting their Leviathan box set, you know, Terminators and Space Marines in general going to be at the forefront of what a lot of people are working on, and his Skills to Scale series on painting up Space Marines in this new edition can definitely be useful. But I also wanted to pull up some of his Leviathan stuff because Waylander's got his hands and been painting on Leviathan, and his Blood Rave is looking sweet.
That's awesome, man. I think he said that they were really good to assemble as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Man, who made this email address? Frost.and.this. Some pretentious guy.
Right? Like a lot of dots. Like, what the hell? Man, make you work just to put the email in. Jeez.
Why, hello there. Hey, Waylanders was at the top bubble. Like they knew who I was looking for. Okay. Freak, I'm going to send you one of Waylander's termies. If you wouldn't mind showing it off for the people.
Sure. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. We've already done some of the fists. All right, then. Let me go ahead and... let's see. All right. Do-do-do.
All right. So there is one of his Terminators from the new Leviathan set.
Okay.
I have always loved me the Termi with the Salt Cannon. I almost never bring him because I usually am bringing like the Malay Terminators. In which case I would rather have the hammer, you know. But
Yes.
the one with the Assault Cannon is so iconic looking.
Yeah, it's just very brutal looking.
It's so cool.
This is
The
the stuff
smoothness
down
of the
here.
white on that helmet.
Oh man, I cannot do white to save my life. Not like that.
So many, I mean, so often, especially when it's just like one part of the model, it's so easy to make white, especially on like a helmet or something like that, look
Yeah.
chalky
Yep.
or look chunky.
Yep.
But this is so smooth, it looks so
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Definitely a dynamic look.
Space Wolves this Wednesday, nice. And for Freak,
Wow.
I've already done the Mighty Fists, nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, I was looking through your channel and I saw the fists on there. So you can find all of this awesome art over on Waylander's YouTube channel, which, like I said, I just linked in the comments here, but it's always in our link tree below. And you can find it on his Instagram, which is also Waylander's Wanderer.
Very nice.
Or Waylander 101, my bad.
I like it a lot. Oh, like it a lot. Cool.
So cool to see the new Indomitus Marines painted up. This is the first new edition box set I haven't bought since halfway through 7th edition when we first jumped in. Because I bought both of the Horus Heresy boxes when they came out in 7th edition. I bought the 9th edition box set, I bought several of the in-between ones, like the Vanguard, not Vanguard, what was it called? Shadow Spear, Forge Bane, Tooth and Claw. You know, I bought a whole bunch of the box sets in between, and then of course I bought the 9th edition Indomitus. You know, yeah, this will be the first edition box I haven't gotten since it's come out.
Yep.
Thanks for sharing my shoes, guys.
Oh yeah, man.
Hey man, just love showing great works. Mr. Box Set over here. Oh, that's okay. I realize how that sounds now. I wasn't trying to brag about my box sets. I was just saying that you
notice there, Roxy. Look at all the boxes behind them. I mean, it's just boxes upon boxes upon box sets. Hey, I didn't get a box set this year.
Most people collect minis. I collect stacks of boxes.
Oh God. All right, so we were talking about. Go ahead.
I was just saying that wasn't me trying to brag about box sets. I was just saying I'm always so excited for new models that I'm just freaking out because I'm like, oh man, I wish I could get these cool box sets like Waylander is doing and painting them up and making them look good. Oh man, I'm looking at myself on camera and I'm turning pink. I only bought every boxes ever produced, but not this year. Okay, statement withdrawn. I realize now that sounded a little douchey.
Anyway, so we were discussing the positives so far of 10th. I'm trying to get us back on track.
Yes, positives and stuff.
And wargaming and
Warhammer.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm excited about putting heroes in squads. Is there anything? You know, I think that was a really good question. That they brought up on
Fireside. Yeah.
How many have you completed, Methos? Well, what's it called? The Beastnaggers box set. I finished that one. Betrayal at Calth. I finished that one. Burning of Prospero. Actually, no. There's a couple of the Thousand Suns characters I didn't finish. I think that's it, actually. I think I finished building Indomitus, but they're not all painted yet. So 2 in the history of all box sets. Yes, that is all. Apparently, I collect box sets, not finish them. You're right.
Please stop derailing my co-host. This is going to be a long...
Sorry. Man, I am so pink in the face right now.
She knew exactly how to do it. It's like, oh, box sets, huh? You're saying box sets. Oh, you didn't get the box set this year, did you? Okay.
I feel the additions where simplification and streamlining have been the priority, have been the strongest. So 3rd rocked my world after the mass test that was 2nd. Oh my goodness. That reminds me of D&D 2.0 with Thaco. I felt like that was a serious math test. In fact, one of my friends ended up buying me a one of those scientific calculators and programming in different Thaco formulas for me. So you've been working on box set 3 for 6 editions now. Okay, so the thing is that it's worse than that. I will open up a box set, pull out 1 or 2 units, and dabble in 6 box sets at a time for the course of the edition. I think the Beastnaggers one is the first one that I sat there and was like, I need to finish every single model. So, yeah, that's my problem, is I keep piecemealing. And the last 3 weeks has been the worst with me, having a bunch of stuff on my desk and no will to work on any of it.
I know the feeling. I completely know the feeling.
You're exactly who GW loves. Oh, man. I'm going to get back at it, though. For realsies this time. For realsies. Okay. So, Fireside. They had a question on there that they really kind of like... They had trouble thinking of any answers. But can you think of any rules that you've seen in any of your research so far that you can think of that's like, this was a good rule, this was an improvement, this is something I like about what's new in 10th edition?
I remember them asking that. I have to say, sadly, some of the rules that were changed were not really necessary. For that reason. Like, for example, the towering was not really necessary. The fact that everything gets covered now, those are little things like that. They're not. Let's just say that it wasn't anything new. It was just different. So the consensus from what I've seen was that the changes didn't need to happen to make a great game. They could have left a lot alone or made some minor modifications, but nothing really said, hey, this is kind of like what happened when we went to 8th, right? When we went straight from 7th to 8th. For us, that was a whole new game. It changed dramatically. The gameplay, from the gameplay to the actual how much time it took to actually play the game, it changed dramatically.
Although, to be fair, once we got over the shock and awe of it, 8th turned out to be a better game.
No. I'm not saying that 8th was bad. I'm saying that you're right.
Right.
8th was overall one of the simplistic games, and oh my god, it simplified gaming altogether. People were like, holy crap, we can actually play a 5-hour game in 3 hours. This is earth shattering. This is unbelievable.
We're so sad. We're so sad bragging about playing a 5-hour game in 3 hours.
It's true.
Oh man.
But the thing is, that is when I could say that the rules made a difference, right? When GW actually touched the heart of the community. Not only that, because remember when they were really trying to say, hey, we did a lot of play testing. We listened to you guys. We listened to the community. Well, you guys might have even heard me say that before, but this is true. GW went over and beyond to listen to the consumer and try to simplify the game for everyone to play. Now, then came 9th edition, and there was some slight structural changes. Nothing really earth-shattering. Still was a fun game. Like I said,
it was like they kept like the same like user engine of 8th and tweaked it for 9th. Yeah,
exactly. It
wasn't a hard reset like 7 to 8 or 9 to 10.
It's exactly right. It wasn't an overhaul. But now we have 10th, which they're kind of calling an overhaul. What is it? Oh man, I'm sorry guys. A freaking skunk has gone by. I got a window unit and it's pulling air, and that SOB just walked. You rat bastard! God bless America. Oh, I live out in the country, guys. I'm in Methos nowhere. I was like, and I guarantee you that sucker came over here. Oh God, that stinks. Hold on, I need to hit a candle. That asshole. Hold on. God. Better not find you. I'll shoot you, rat.
Oh my goodness.
Oh. God, freaking suck.
Oh man.
Uh,
That is a really great point, Waylander. I'm going to bring that up here in just a second.
okay, I'm sorry about that,
All right, just
Rick.
a couple of catch-up things.
Yep,
I asked
go for
for specific rules. Maybe some people thought were a good addition to 10th.
Uh-huh.
Roxy said changing dense cover to woods. I'm so glad to see the backside of dense cover.
Yes.
Oh man, just the fact that you could end up even in a game where there's not supposed to be more than ±1, you could end up in a situation with -2 from different rules interactions. That was pretty crazy.
Yep.
And by the end of 9th, just because of the way a lot of tables were set up, it could be like most spots on the table would be -1 to hit.
Right.
Eighth edition index was the pinnacle. That's a good way to look at it. I loved 8th. I preferred a little later 8th just because cavalry was one of my favorite things, and they were hardcore punishing cavalry units for some of the sins of 7th edition.
Yep.
So I preferred a little bit later in the game.
Yeah. So you got to understand, 8th was not without its issues. Remember, 8th is when the indexes came out first, right? Yep. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, they vanilla'd the living hell out of everything." Brand Redmo went away. A lot of changes. They're like, "What is happening?" And we didn't really get any of the codices until towards the end of the edition. Then here comes 9th.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad. They actually had another codices ready to go. So we weren't stuck with new indexes in the C's. And so I think the transition from 8th to 9th wasn't as bad. Again, was it something that said revolutionary from 8th to 9th? No, I won't say it is, but some changes were pretty interesting. Now we're going from 9th to 10th. There are some things that I like because it's almost like going back to the simplicity of 8th with everything neatly, like all the character information, can be put in just one little card, right? Very simplistic, very easy. That's cool. But now you're asking for Overwatch from everything. Which is taking time, and then you have to recall. Did I ask you to do Overwatch? You want to Overwatch? No, okay. You sure? You go about that guy. You want to Overwatch that guy? And then little things like that. It's like,
yeah, so many activation windows.
Yeah, exactly. Will that destroy? It's not going to destroy the game, but was it necessary?
Yeah, I feel like that came from the way people liked it in boarding actions, where you could overwatch people's movements. But I think there's a difference doing it at a small 500-point game versus a full-size game.
Right.
Going back to the comment about dense cover, Fish said dense cover really sucked in an all vehicles list because vehicles got penalized, but none of the buffs. Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's go ahead. I'm sorry. You need to read that.
Go ahead.
No, continue. We need to.
I was just going to move on to another comment. So if you got something you were addressing there.
Well, on the cover, now it's to the point to where everything can get covered, including vehicles.
Oh yeah. Dense cover was a 9th edition thing.
Right.
That's the -1 to hit.
Right. Exactly. So now, and before, vehicles never got cover, right? I mean, now if one section of the vehicle is behind any type of cover, it gets the cover save. So I'm sure there's, I'm sure that's something that they're going to address.
I'm kind of surprised that is a rule that doesn't sit well with you, because I know how much you love your dreadnoughts and your Sakaran and your Predator tanks. your land
Oh,
raiders.
I'm not saying. It's just. Was it necessary?
Okay.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying? I don't think, again, it's not a showstopper. It's not something
sure.
that is going to end. You know, it's like, I'm gonna quit. Anybody want to buy some Imperial Fists? You know, that's
Sure.
you know, it's not to that degree. It's just, okay. What was that necessary? And again, I get it, because they're trying to make it. We've talked about this. The game is supposed to be where you don't get your ass blown off in the first turn. You know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, and I think that's good. That's a good way. But did they have to do that? Was that necessary? That's my burning question. So again, I don't think it's one of those things that are going to really impede the game. It's just some minor changes. My only concerns are the ones that, like you said, the activation points. Those are little things that are taking the time where you got to, like, okay, well, what about you? Okay, what about this? You know, okay, what about this? Okay, hold on, we need to, you know what I'm saying?
And I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I think in competitive play, that's going to suck ass.
Absolutely.
But
for us,
just
it won't
play
matter.
get your table. Yeah, we're just going to keep playing like we've been playing, because you know, when you're playing with friends, it's like, oh, hold up, can I go back and Overwatch with this guy when you move? We'll be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. And again, watching guys, if you go check out Tabletop Tactics, they've made it really simplistic. They've kind of taken the fear out of a little bit. You know, it's like you can hear all the different perspectives from different sources, but until you actually play it or watch it played and kind of see it come together, you really can't appreciate it, you know, which I'm really looking forward to our game in 10th. But again, watching Tabletop Tactics actually play, and not just the intro game, but also, you know, other games down the line, really helped me to see 10th in action. And the activation, right? The hey, would you like to Overwatch? Or hey, would you like to do, you know? And they've made it work. They've made it work. If they were able to make it work, then I really don't see the issue here, right? So I think yes, I think it's going to be a slight challenge that we'll have to learn a new system, but it's not like an entire completely, you know, new device system. You know, it's not like, you know, wounds. You know, learning how to do wounds again is going to be different, you know, from, you know, like what we had with 7th. Remember, 7th was a nightmare. You needed a calculus, you know, class in order to be able to, okay, how do I wound this guy? What do I need? How many dice? What? Can you give me a crayon? You know, it's like, it 7th edition was really crazy. And then here they say, hey, this is an easier way to hit and to wound, you know? And they made it even simplified in 10th, you know? Like, here you go. Here's your ballistic. Here's your, like, cake. Everything's right there in your data card. Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to catch up on some of these real quick.
Yep, you do that. I'm going to use the restroom, man. Oh.
Real quick before you go.
Okay, God.
Miniatures Paintbrush says, great quality video, freak.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's his expensive camera. It's very nice. He's very nice.
He's very nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
From looking at a game with... Okay, that was the one addressed to you.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Looking at some other channels, it feels... other channels in their own meta watch, it feels GW pays too much attention to tournament play in a game never designed for it. Yeah, that is the route that they've taken to the last few years, is everything is balanced kind of around tournament play. And, you know, I used to have that as my biggest complaint, is balancing around the top, you know, 10% or whatever. And I'm not sure what the right answer is anymore, because I used to really have a problem with balancing around the top players. But, you know, nowadays, of course, at the age of the internet, I see so much net listing and stuff like that at my local shops, where it's just like, you know, people take the same lists and the same strategies that they find online at the top table people are doing now. And so because those kinds of strategies and lists are accessible to just about everybody, I'm not sure how to balance the game without addressing the tournament players anymore. So I'm not a tournament player, and I'm not a big fan of the game being revolved around tournament play. I just don't know what the right answer is because everybody has access to all those top tier lists and strategies and whatnot. And I guess when I was playing card games like Magic, The Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, it was kind of the same thing, where you could tell when somebody looked up a card list online somewhere of what the tournament people were doing, because it would just be like you'd run into 3 people in a row that were card for card, play for play, the exact same deck you just played against. So it's hard to say. Now that we're in the age of information, everybody just looks up what everybody else is doing, and I think that kind of like solidifies certain metas. So yeah, I don't know what the right answer is there. After playing 9 of 10 editions, I'm looking forward to playing 10th. I can't wait to hear about you playing your first game, my brother. I feel like you and Archer are both way, way overdue for a game. I recall from the deep, dark past, rattling snipers being deployed along with any woods terrain and never moved. Same for Wood Elf Way Watchers. And they've always had that move, fire, and then get back into cover ability, right? So you just stay in the woods, you pop out, fire, pop back in. Did they fix the towering rule? So the towering rule itself is completely unchanged at this point, my brother. However, what they did was everything that had the tower rule, they just boosted up the points cost for it. So a lot of people's popular opinion is that Knights would still be just as strong, still be perfectly strong and balanced and do just fine at the previous points level, just without the towering rule. But instead, they chose to keep the towering rule and boost up the points of the Knight. So I don't know. A lot of people feel like that was the wrong way to fix it, but we will see how it goes. It is still early doors. Maybe it won't be as bad as everyone thinks it is. Maybe people will. Sometimes part of the meta is just giving it a month or so for people to figure out how to play around what's strong at the beginning. So it's possible, they'll have other solutions, but yeah, that's where it is right now. They've left everything the way it is with towering, and they've just chosen to adjust things with points. Similarly, they did kind of a very similar thing with the indirect fire rules. They increased the points of like the artillery weapons, like the Astra Militarum has, and they've kind of left the indirect fire rule itself alone. They've just kind of adjusted, the cost of them. And that's with indirect fire overall. Desolators are the same. The Whirlwind, all that good stuff.
Oh my God!
Welcome back, Freak.
Thank you. I had to get a snack, some more. I went to the Hong Kong market today. Got some of this goodness. This is so freaking good. It's
Hi, Mutt.
It's what do you call it? Nori or seaweed, right? But it's seaweed snacks. Oh, these are so freaking good. Oh, actually, I don't know. I don't know if this one's better or the tempura. But man, these are so good. They almost taste like sour cream and onion. It's really good.
Nice. BRB.
Okay. This is like ASMR, guys. Hold on, bring it on. Listen to this. And just like that, we lost subscribers. Hi, my name is Mutt. Hi, Mutt. What's going on, Ryan? How are you, sir? It's crispy. These are actually really good. I'm really, really impressed. Yeah, they got a lot of flavor to these things. I got to get more of these. These are a lot of fun. Anyway. So, excuse me. So, and like I said, in spite of some of the negative crap that I heard about 10, that's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna deter us from playing. It's just like I said. It's just something to be mindful because there are some things that are not fantastic. There are some things that are not, they don't make really a whole lot of sense, and I'm sure are going to be addressed in some Q&As and some errata. So, but until then, we'll just like I said, make do with some of the with some of those minor issues and just kind of float with it, right? Many more, but says I'm building a ton of Kings of War. Very cool, man. Still debating if I should return to 40K.
Always.
Honestly, yeah, man. I mean, something that you should look into. I personally feel like there's nothing to be afraid of. I think there's a lot of people actually coming in into 10th when they haven't played in like, 2 or 3, 4 editions. So I think now is a good time to come in and test the waters and see what you think.
Waylander says, do you think some of the negativity is change? There's a quote that the Gamecraft Dragon says all the time, is that there are two things war gamers hate. And that's the way the game is now and change.
He's right. He's absolutely right. Okay. So, I'll use me as an example, right? I have ADD high level. I strive and I function really well with consistency. So that means that so my day, just to kind of give you an insight of my life, right? Every morning I wake up at the same exact time. Now that I'm working from home, I don't have to start work until 8 a.m. So I get up at 6:22. I usually can't sleep past that anyway, but I'll get up at 6:22. I'll get up, get my coffee, sit on the couch, wake up, drink my coffee, talk to my wife, and then once my wife leaves to work, I do my breakfast, eat, get my water, because I use a big carafe of water, because I drink water throughout the day at my desk, and then, I get myself presentable at least in case we have meetings, and then I start my day, and I do this consistently, and I thrive on that because I can expect it. I know what's going to happen. I like it.
He says consistency. He means exactly the same.
Exactly. But for me, there's a safety to it. There's a comfort to it. The problem is if something happens to that consistency, throws off my entire day. And I'm not talking about it's just it's a wrench into things, or I might kind of throw off. No, it literally throws off my entire mood, my mental cycle, the way I think, my outlook. I'll go straight from positive to absolutely horrifying negativity, and zero to mock Jesus. I mean, it's bad.
Let me give you guys just a snippet into this. One of the worst times Freak ever snapped at me was because I insisted he do something different from his usual schedule. Okay, so we had planned for like all week we were going to do a paint and chat, but he got stuck in traffic on the way home, and he barely made it in time to throw down his dinner and come into the hobby room. And he was like really upset, throwing stuff around. He's like, man, I wanted to do a paint and chat tonight, but I haven't had a chance to move my camera station over here. We got to go live in 2 minutes. And oh my God, I'm just so mad. I'm like, so what I said was, well, if you're so mad about it, bro, I mean, just reach behind you, grab some paint and paint right there. He goes, no, I paint over there. He got like really serious and confused looking. I was like, oh yeah, and that's fine. I'm just saying, like, if you're mad that the camera's not over there, just paint right here. It'll be fine. And man, he snapped them. I very seldom see his eyes do this, especially at me. But he slammed his hand down on the table and he leaned into the camera and goes, I don't paint at my desk. I paint over there. Okay, stop saying it. I was like, whoa.
I'm sorry.
I was like, I don't know what I did wrong. I was just saying, it's going to be all right, man.
I vaguely remember that. I know. Oh my God. But he's right. It throws me completely off. And again, being ADD, it's overwhelming for me. It's like, oh, you know, it's like your whole world. And you know what? For a normal brain, it's like, what the hell? What's the hell is wrong with you, dude? It's not that big of a deal. It is a big of a deal in my head, right? And again, and I've gotten better. I've been taking my supplements that actually help me with that, you know, help me compartmentalize. Like right now, there's no way that I'd be able to articulate half the things that I'm saying now, because I'd be in all la la land had I not been on my supplements, right? Because I'd be gibbling and not making any damn sense. Thank goodness that I can at least articulate now, and I know what the hell I'm saying. But yeah, I mean, that's my problem. And so I think our community is kind of riddled with this kind of my kind of people, my kind of folks, you know.
I love that you say riddled like it's some kind of problem. Oh man, we're just infested with this.
Right? We are the infection. You know, and so I think for the community, again, I can appreciate it because I like it consistency, but I also like changes. And it's almost like, okay, freak, you're broken. There's something wrong with you. Yeah, I've been trying to tell everybody that for a long time. That's why I'm a freak. But I like changes, but as long as the changes make sense, okay? You gotta make it make sense to me. I have to be able to quantify it. I need to be able to justify why those changes are being made. Because if they're not, why make them? You know, it's you know, I move straight into the logic point of view. It's like, okay, why are we reinventing the wheel? What was the purpose of that? Could we have not achieved the same outcome by not doing that? You know, it's those questions. And I think the majority in our community are the same way. We're not dumb people. You know, we can analyze what's going on. And so I personally feel that, you know, they're asking the questions. It's like, why did we have to do this? And of course, corporate suspicion and all this, you know, we're like, oh, well, there's corporate greed and they're just out to make a buck. And oh, hey, wait a minute, you know, and all of a sudden guards go up. You know, you kind of feel defensive. And now this is where all this negativity is coming in from. You know, it's like, oh, they're just trying to make a buck. They're trying to put the screws on it, you know, without really taking, you know, the community, you know, in context. And so that's the kind of situation. But again, I think there's so many different factors that are that touch this issue. It's not just one. It's multiple. It's like a diamond. It's multifaceted. It's got a gazillion different moving parts that will affect how, you know, us as game players and consumers react, because that's what we're doing. We're reacting to a specific action from the developer. The developer says, hey, we're going to make these changes. We're going to do this and this and this. Well, guess what? The consumer is going to respond. Respond by being very reactive or proactive, right? There's different response. So anyway, and that's what's happening right now. It's like, you know, GW says, okay, we're going to make some changes. And I think some changes were good. And then some are like, what? Why? And so that's what we're seeing. It's like we're seeing kind of like the earth shaking a little bit. You know, the consumer's like, I'm not sure why you had to do that. You know, and then Germany is like, nope, door closes. You ain't playing here. We're staying with, we're staying with 9. Screw you guys. 10th, get your ass out. Go. You know, we're staying with 9 until you're not coming in here until you learn to behave. 10th. The hell is wrong with you? You know, it's like you're treating them like the bad little kid. You know, like you just can't behave. You know what? Go time out. You know, that is the reaction. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. It is a reaction to the actual cause, right? This is, but is it warranted? You know, is it really? Do they really have to do that? So,
All right, now I enjoyed this side journey, but I'm going to venture back in time about half an hour.
God. Okay, good.
No, like don't get me wrong. Like I said, I enjoyed like where you went with it.
Okay.
But I'm going to go back to the original question.
Well,
I agree. I agree that there definitely feels like a lot of things are change for the sake of change.
Sure.
But are there any, even one rule that you thought was a positive change?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
welcome to the chat, Dark Light Dreamer.
Hey, what's up, brother? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I do like that everything now is condensed. I did a great job. I like that.
Any
I like
specific rules?
Not the rules, but the very fact that the character information is all in the condenser. You're not looking through. Where's my book? It's back over there. You're not looking at one or two pages of rules. For information on your character and the stuff they can take.
Okay, that's respectable.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, yeah. I do hate that with certain codexes. It's like, all right, now I've got my squad pulled up here, and I'm going to use this weapon. And hold on, I need to flip back somewhere else in the book to find this weapon. And
you got to reference right. Well, okay. Remember, all your weapons and everything that you use are in a separate index in the back of the damn book.
Yep.
So you're like, hold on, let me see. Do I have to? So if you don't have Battle Scribe, you're like, give me a minute. I'm gonna be tossing some pages around here for a minute. It's just, and I like that. I like that level of simplicity. So yeah, I think that's a positive.
Nice. I think for myself, one rule I like so far is I'm excited to try characters in the squads. I don't think all of them needed it. I'm going to go back to my example of Gazgul. I feel like Gazgul was... I thought he was the Gazgul... Oh, we have an emergency here, guys.
Oh, no! Not no oil!
No, this time it's Nazdrag Yellow.
Oh, no.
Kind of see it over here. Why am I showing it on camera? Because I want to show you guys something I learned from Mini Warzone Pete. Don't get me wrong, this is still... I hate that this happened, but... Clean off my cord here. Okay. Learned, when you waste an entire bottle like this, these little paint spatula things can kind of come in handy. They're saving some of it. Is it a little tainted? Yeah. But scoop up some of it. This stuff's expensive, guys. Okay, so I like the character rule. I like being able to attach characters into squads, and get certain abilities. Like, when you have a lieutenant in your squad, you get this. You got a rune priest or a librarian in your squad, you get this. That's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited to seeing how that works out. And plus, I feel like as a bodyguard rule, it makes more sense instead of like being 3 inches behind a guy gives you, cover. No, he's just part of a squad. You can't attack him because he's in a squad with other people, I mean, how much did it not feel like it made sense back in 8th where, I had all of these units hiding in ruins, but you couldn't shoot Belisarius' call because he was sitting out in the middle of no man's land. But he wasn't
a nightmare. Oh, I hate it so much.
You're like, frickin' Cole! So yeah, or you had the same thing with Typhus and the zombies. You're like, why can't I shoot him?
That game with Atlas will always burn my soul.
So, yeah, so I think this makes a little more sense. You're like, oh, he's part of the squad. That's why you can't shoot him.
Right.
So thematically, I feel like that's a little cooler. So I mentioned characters, and then I think the other thing that I like, and I had it on the tip of my tongue right before I spilled paint. Jesus. I had them listed out in my head perfectly, ready to say it. Nope, it's gone forever.
Oh no!
Everyone's paint is a little tainted if you think about it. I feel like that's deep, and I'm just not getting it.
it a dirty reference? I don't know. Sounds like it'd be a dirty reference.
Gosh, what was that other rule at? Hurry, Methos. Wipe, wipe, wipe. That's an $8 to $10 spill. That's why I've got the little paint spatula here scooping and saving. I'm like, this is $10 or this is $8 worth of paint. I gotta save it. Anyone is a fan of speed painting techniques or slap chop or whatever, I find that Nasdrag yellow over a black and white, either Zenithal or dry brushed or whatever, a black over white with Nasdrag yellow makes a nice base tone for like an old antiquated gold.
You know what I also like that we can do now this edition?
What's that?
I could bring my drop pods.
You could bring your drop pods before, but
Yeah, but I couldn't bring. Couldn't take any of the. What all I could take was what some termies and no, you can't even take your termies. You have to take regular squads.
yeah, regular armor squads, regular armor firstborn. You're right. You can fit so much more into your drop pods now.
Mm-hmm.
Who's painting their taint?
I knew it. I knew it. I knew that'd be a dirty conversation somewhere. I knew it.
On the other hand, Dartlike was being deep. He's like, the paint that colors our the paint that colors our lives, man, our souls.
Oh yeah. That's what I thought you meant. Sure. I'm totally with you, man.
Hey, I'm just glad that if you were going to make an assumption like that, you decided to assume it was a sex joke instead of turning it into toilet humor.
Hey, you know, I just didn't want you to just. As soon as I start saying poop, you know, you're like, all right, bye. What? Where'd you go?
Hey, that's not bad. Using my little spatula, I had spilled off everything down to like here, and using the spatula, it's still back up here. It's still, you know, I lost some, but not very much.
I'm actually looking at the core rules right now online, and
that is one thing I like.
Yep.
That obviously, when codexes come out, we will still have to come out of pocket for codexes, but
Sure.
like the rules are free right now. The index cards or the indexes are free. There are free missions. You can buy other ones, of course. You can buy physicals of the rulebook. You can buy physicals of the index cards. But like, if you want it to be free, starting off, everything is free. You know, it's an option. I saw that our brother who took my dice, you know, he got all the tangibles. He got the box. His lovely wife bought him the box set.
very nice.
He picked up the index cards today, and his Leviathan came with the mission cards. So he's got like all the tangibles. He says, Darklight says, the rules are free. It's chasing the new meta that'll cost you. Wow, that is so legit.
Yeah,
That is so legit.
You're right.
Oh, you know, actually, Darklight, that is very insightful. That is at the very, very core of playing a PC free-to-play game. Or a mobile free-to-play game. It's like, oh yeah, you can download this game for free. Of course, if you want to be good,
Right.
you're going to need this new unit. Oh my gosh, we are exactly following a MOBA game.
I think another difference that they have is that is that battle shock rule. You know, where instead of your armies running away, your unit will become pretty much inactive or unable to be able to do anything for that turn.
Well, actually, to the contrary, it's I like that they're not completely useless. You can still shoot, you can still fight, you can do the basics, but you don't get any more of your buffs.
Right.
You know, there are certain buffs you don't get anymore, and then like you lose your objective control, and so it's like. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, if you just lost the model, that was it. There's nothing you can do with them, right?
No, exactly. No, I'm not saying it's a negative. It's just a little change.
Oh, yeah. You know? Yeah, definitely a change. I'm just saying, like, it's cool that you can still do something with them. Mm-hmm. I mean, is an AP0 bolter shot going to do a whole lot? Probably not. But the fact that you can still do something with them is kind of neat, you know?
Right. And, of course, that's also... that also depends on your strength level, whether you're at full strength or below half strength, and that also comes into play with that the battle shock.
Darklight, as a fellow Yu-Gi-Oh player, when I said you can still do the basics, you can't just do the special stuff, he goes, right, you can still use monsters, magic, and trap cards, but can you synchro? No, my friend, you cannot, and that's where the difference is. But yeah, so I think that's a pretty cool thing. But you're right, it's definitely another change to get used to. And also, I mean, you know, sometimes if you were used to that system, sometimes you would bank on it. Oh man, if I drop 5 dudes from this guy's army, for sure he's going to have at least one runaway, you know? Thinking about the number of times I've played against Imperial Guard, trying to math out how many soldiers do I need to kill to make the squad run, you know? But now that's not a viable tactic anymore. Now you actually gotta, okay, well, they're still going to be around. Now I gotta fight them, you know? Darklight has a little skit of us interacting. He has you saying, "Poop," me. All right, I'm gonna head out. That is how some of our conversations have gone. Man, okay, so going back to Freak's ADHD, Freak doesn't do anything halfway. So if he starts making poop jokes in Messenger or whatever, it doesn't stop with the joke. It's followed up by like 2 more poop jokes and then 13 poop memes or gifts or whatnot.
Gifts, yeah.
And that's when that's when I head out.
Yeah, it escalates. It's exponential, and all of a sudden it's like you see the little notice. Methos Kushonana has left the chat. I'll go get him back. Wait, guys, I'll be back. It's like, what happened to Methos? I'll go get him back. So yeah, it would be me.
I just get a message. Was that one gift too far?
Oh, I usually say, I'm like, all right, Methos, I'm done. I'm sorry. And he'll wait till the coast is clear. And then finally he'll come back like, several hours later. I'm like, all right, guys, no more poop jokes. We're good for the month.
The biggest advantage Marines had was they shall know no fear and ignoring battle shock. Yep. Now, in their pursuit of having, in their mind, morale being meaningful, they've basically gone. Oh, I mean, I'm sure it's still there. I think as a stratagem now. But yeah, they've basically gone away from what we classically know as no fear. And the community used to take the mick out of it too. Because even though it was like a very traditional Marine rule, everybody used to be like, because Marines know no rules, and it's just like, well, I mean, that's traditional for them. That's lore. And then people are always like, well, why do orcs have fear? Why do Chaos Marines have fear? Okay. I guess whichever fan of whichever army you are at that point, it's hard to make that one agreeable, I suppose. So, yeah, that's why they decided in their pursuit of making morale more meaningful, they've done away with it.
Another thing that I noticed, especially in some of the games that I've watched, that they're actually deep striking. Remember how, like in 8th and I think 9th, you couldn't deep strike until after the second edition, or second phase, or second game, or rule, whatever. Second, whatever. Turn, yeah. I don't know why that was so hard to say. So it looks like you can actually do it anytime.
Now, I know certain things can deep strike right away, like
Right.
drop pods and whatnot, but I don't know if it's everything that can deep strike right away.
I'm looking through it, and it's not, unless the rules themselves are affected by the data card. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at the deep strike rule.
Interesting.
Yeah. In fact, I can share this if you like. I'm just kind of
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're looking at.
Okay. Let me see.
I love getting deep striked, if you know what I mean.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, me too.
You never want to deep strike. You have to ease into it. Right.
You know, he's not wrong. Okay. All right, let me little bigger. So here's the rules for deep strike. Some units make their way to battle via tunneling, teleportation, high altitude descent, or other extraordinary means that allow them to appear suddenly in the thick of the fighting. During the declare battle formation step, if every model in a unit has this ability, you can set it up in reserves instead of setting it up on the battlefield. And if you do, in the reinforcement step of one of your movement phases, you can set up this unit anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from all enemy models. And that's it.
Okay.
I looked at the movement phase, which is, I thought that's where I actually saw the deep strike mentioned here, and it just said, yeah. If you hold on, let me see if I can find it here. Come on.
Okay. So the way it says some units, though, it says,
if they have that keyword, yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Let me pull up one of the deep strike units and see if there's any.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Specifics on that.
And that's what I'm thinking. If there's any change, if there's any anything to that, then it would be relative to the actual data card.
Yeah.
Let's see. Unit visibility. I just saw it here. The battle round. Okay. Let's see. Man, the battle shock. It was right after battle shock. I saw that. Movement phase.
Finish this lead belcher here. Now get right on that.
Advance moves. Okay, it was after advance, then fall back, moving over terrain. We did that. Flying. Here's, by the way, that rule that we were talking about, because before in 8th and 9th, if a unit wanted to move onto like a top of the building, you would measure it diagonally. Now it would be directly straight to the edge and then up to 3 inches up. Now the only way it's diagonal is if it was a flying creature or it has a flying keyword.
That's another interesting thing
right
that
there.
a lot of people are struggling with right now, is that you have to actually measure vertical distance for fly instead of being immune to vertical distance.
Right.
Which seems odd for some things, like make sure of your safe word. Instead of using
pineapple juice.
Instead of using you know what, I lost where I was going with that. Okay.
Yay, I broke him. But yeah, no, why on some of the flying keyword units do they have to worry about doing a diagonal? Yeah. Okay, here it is. Reinforcements. Some units have a rule that allows them to start the battle in reserves, such as Deep Strike, page 39. Such units will arrive later in the battle and are known as reserve units. Any reserve units that have not been set up on the battlefield when the battle ends counts as having been destroyed. The reinforcement step. In a reinforcement step of your movement phase, you have any reserve. If you have any reserve units in your army, you can select one or more of them and set them up on the battlefield one at a time. Once all your reserves units that you wish to set up this turn have been set up, then your movement phase ends and you progress to your shooting phase. Of course, details on how to set up your reserve units are described in the same rules that enabled the unit to be set up in reserves. So it does sound like it is referencing, or it's leaving it up to the data card for that particular unit.
You are correct, though, because I'm looking at the data card for Terminators,
Mm-hmm.
and it says abilities, and it just says Deep Strike from the core rules. So there is nothing specific on here about when you can Deep Strike.
Yeah. So I remember specifically that in the core rules of 9th, that you have to wait after second edition, or why did I say condition? Second turn, turn 2, in order to be able to Deep Strike. And a lot of people were pissy. We're like, well, damn. I mean, hell, the game's almost decided by turn 2 and 3, right? So anyway, it was just something else. I thought it was interesting.
Agreed. So yeah, that's a good thing to pick up. So I'm interested of what people are finding of combat, and I'm interested to try combat. Makes me want to definitely bring wolves to my first 10th edition game, because I have heard a few different sources saying that combat, like this feels like a shooting edition, and that close combat feels like, and I'm going to use their words, feels like slapping each other with wet noodles.
Right, the actual combat, the melee.
Yeah, and so
portion of it, yeah, I heard that too.
As someone who loves this close combat, orcs, space wolves, white scars, and now I plan on doing blood angels at some point. I love me some melee, so
yeah,
a real brouhaha. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that'll be like.
I think you're not too far from that truth though, Methos, because I mean that's why they've made firing deck. You know, it's like you can now fire from a transport, which is big. It's very shooty. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, here it is. It's like firing deck X. Each time this transport shoots, select one weapon from up to X, which models embark within it. This transport counts as being equipped with those weapons as well. So you can have a freaking well, I don't know what the rules are for a Rhino, but
Rhino gets firing deck too.
There you go. So
I think that's cool that you could possibly have like a plasma and a las cannon shooting out the top of your Rhino.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, it's not invincible, or what do you call it? Yeah, it's not an easy target.
Yeah, the Rhino's no pushover anymore. Which
unit can.
I'm looking forward to using a couple of those myself.
Yeah, it says a unit can embark within a friendly's transport if all of its models are and a normal, advance, or fall back move within 3 inches of the transport. A unit cannot embark and disembark in the same phase. If a unit from your army starts your move, if a unit from your army starts your movement phase, embarked within a transport model, that unit can disembark in that phase. When a unit disembarks from a transport model, set it up on the battlefield so that it's wholly within 3 inches of that transport model and not within engagement range of any enemy models. If for some reason a disembarking model cannot be set up, that model's units cannot be disembarked. Let's see. And to my knowledge, once they disembark, they can actually shoot because that's considered their movement phase.
Yep. Which is pretty cool. I definitely am seeing, usually previously that you would just zip a rhino up the table, let people get out, and then your rhino would fall back and sit on an objective or something like that. But this actually gives you reason to, actually drive up and keep your people inside the rhino for a while and just let them blaze away with their guns, It's almost 4:30. Gonna get some Z's. Later, taters. Later, Waylander. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Glad you're able to hang out with us, man.
That's an STL someone needs to make. Old models of Marines sitting and hanging off of rhinos. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Just leaning off the side of a rhino with your las cannon in your lap. Or hanging out the, hanging out with the las cannon ready to fire. That'd be cool.
All right, I'm calling it night. Well, wake up early.
All right, my brother. I'll see you in the morning.
The characterful ones.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I know a lot of people like those old. Speaking of old school Marines, actually, I had an awesome gift arrive from Gamers with Coffee this week. Let me show that off. So, as they told me on the show the other week, that they had a box of upgrade cards for X-Wing, and I had been looking for a few weeks for the new card for the pilot Wedge Antilles, and they sent me Wedge's card and base, which is amazing. But not only did they send me the card and base, but I was really surprised to find these really classic old school metal Space Wolves models.
Are you showing something? Because I'm not there. You're showing something on the camera?
Yes, okay, I should be.
Hang on. Oh, not what I wanted to do. Okay, try again.
Okay, so first, the Wedge Antilles card and base that they sent me, which is awesome. But then they sent me these old school metal Space Wolves models. So here we've got an old school metal Terminator. The classic, it's primed super bright white, so it's kind of hard to see any detail. Forgive me with my dirty fingers from cleaning up that contrast paint earlier. But yeah, you can see a little wolf on his head. It's got the old power sword, so it's like a Terminator Sergeant. He's got the Indominus style hippo face, and he's also got like there we go. Oh, that's actually showing some of it. So you got like the wolf skull on the belt there, a little bit of a pelt around his shoulders. Yeah, some really cool classic stuff. And there is a Rune Priest in Terminator armor as well. Classic. So got the classic rune axe there. And if I get him a little bit closer, don't zoom in on the hand, zoom in on the dude. It was there for just a second. Come on, C920, you can do it.
It's really finding you, ain't it?
Yeah. You can do it, C920. Thomas says cameras. Oh, there it is. Okay, you can see his little psychic hood there. Some different talismans around the neck. And again, that old school runic axe. So yeah, classic Space Wolf Rune Priest and Terminator armor. And this one's not even in power armor. It says GW on it, and it has the same axe as the old school Wolf Priest, and it's got like, the different accoutrement on it, that makes it look like a Rune Priest. but there's no power on armor on this. I'm not sure if this is for fantasy. Oh no, that one it picked up right away. I'm not sure if this is for fantasy or if this is an old school like unarmored rune priest or what, because it says Games Workshop on the base, and it's got like the same kind of like old school metal Space Wolf axe on it that I've seen on a couple of my other classic metal models. It's got the wolf totem on top, which looks really cool. It's again prime bright white, so some details are hard to see. You can see like he's got the long flowing hair and beard there. Really cool looking model. So yeah, these will definitely be a pleasure to work on. Gee, the Hyposapien says, "What's up?" Hellwork says, "I want the old metal long fang Devastator Sergeant." Nice. Gee, my friend, it is always so good to see you, my brother. So yeah, that's anyways, I know we were talking about 10th. I just got sidetracked because he mentioned some of the old characterful models, and I wanted to give a shout out to Gamers with Coffee. Likewise, my frosty friend. Appreciate it.
So this is the interesting part of Overwatch. Let me share this. And this is the part that I was hearing about. Right here. When your opponent's movement or charge phase just after an enemy unit is set up, or when an enemy unit starts or ends a normal, advance, fall back, or charge move. So anytime you make a move, whatever it is, even during the movement phase, you can have a declared Overwatch. But of course, it is expensive. You know, you have to pay 1 CP, right? So I think that's where the balance might be. It's like, okay, unless you got a buttload of CPs hanging around, you're not going to be, you know.
No, yeah, it's not about a ton of usage. It's about the windows of opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I've got 18 units on the field today because we're playing a 2,000-point game.
Right.
I move this unit. Do you want to Overwatch?
Yeah.
No? Okay, I move this unit. Do you want to Overwatch? No, and it's just like going and going and going. And I think that's the part that gets on everybody's nerves.
Yeah.
And so what people are asking is like, what is the right etiquette in a competitive environment?
Right.
Do I legitimately need to stop every 2 seconds and ask my opponent, do you want to do this?
Right.
I'll make my next move. Do you want to do this? Or just tell my opponent, I'm going to make my movements now. You need to be on your toes and tell me when you want to Overwatch.
Yeah, which I think is fair. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think either way could definitely lead to some feels bad moments, especially, being that, yeah, I mean, being stringent is what you're supposed to do in a competitive scene, but at the same time, just because it's something new particular to this edition, I could definitely see some people getting used to it and a few feel bad moments. Some people are probably going to cry, he's slow playing. If you stop every 2 seconds to ask them if they want to react, but at the same time, if you let them miss their Overwatch window, they may get upset with you for that. So it's like, what is the right etiquette here?
Right. So here's another thing that I'm actually noticing in these rules. A lot of these rules that they have, but they used to be in the core rules on specifically for the character or for the unit or the vehicle, they're now stratagems. Like, remember, go to ground?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's 1 CP now. So you can spend 1 CP and say, okay, unit's going to ground, and they'll have a 6-up invul.
Yep.
And then you've got
because if you'll notice, a lot of what they're doing is they're trying to allocate, leave it to where there's just one or two abilities on the data sheet itself, which again
Right.
is simplifying, but then you got to try and remember, okay, well, if I want to use that now, it's a stratagem.
Right.
It's like,
Right. And again, you have to reference more the stratagems now than you do the actual reference data card. So, smoke screen, right? Remember when you would say, okay, I'm going to pop smoke. You didn't really have to, think about it. You didn't have to. Now it's one CP. So,
well, that was a change they were making towards the codexes at the end of the edition.
At the end of the
that's been that's been coming as a stratagem for a while. But I see your point.
Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff that was already there. They just converted into stratagems now. Tank shock, rapid ingress, heroic intervention. That's the one that really gets me, is the heroic intervention. That's 2 CP. Interesting. Well, like I said, I'm really looking forward to playing, trying to get some of these rules under our belt, and yeah, we need to do that, man.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to our first game.
Yeah, I said 1,000, but we should do at least our incursion. Just start out small, kick each other's ass, and then see how it feels.
I was thinking, maybe we can do a little Methos and Freak escalation. Start at 1,000.
No, you start at 250, right?
Well, I mean,
work our way up.
Well, the thing is that the game sizes, they don't have the smaller point games anymore. It starts at 1,000.
Okay.
Because anything beyond that is boarding patrol.
I see. Ah, gotcha.
So yeah, start at 1,000, and we can do 1,250, 1,500, work our way up to the big boy 2,000 point game.
Right.
Yeet the opponent's models? Is that the correct response?
That's what I tell Methos to do.
I was about to say, I have been instructed to do this before. Then I got called out, and I was like, "What you told me to?" Jeez.
Oh man.
And then all of a sudden, it's, I was just joking. I didn't know he'd actually do it. Yeah, but then why did you PayPal me $30? I don't understand.
Right. Oh my god.
No, you guys, it's hard out here for escape code.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually, like I said, it's pretty interesting.
So let us know in the comments, in the chat or in the comments. So we mentioned that our favorite person with good, well thought out, concerns, that wasn't just hate mongering. We've brought up Fireside 40K? Fireside, what's the name of that channel, Freak?
You can ask me that on Fireside. God. Fireside Chat, I think it's called.
Fireside Podcast, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I said, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Fireside Podcast, they had some really well thought out, well bullet pointed concerns without hate mongering. And again, they even offer some solutions, which I thought was pretty cool. And then our favorite for the positive aspects of people trying out 10th and actually enjoying it. We really liked Tabletop Tactics so far.
Absolutely.
There's probably other great ones out there. These happen to be our current favorites that we've been learning from. But, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you guys think, and let us know what your experiences are when you get to play. And obviously, let us know if you think there's someone else that we're missing that's got either positive or negative points. Just if you got some improvement areas or negative points, we really, again, we don't really go for hate mongery that are just FGW, down with GW. We're looking for well articulated, points that are well thought out and can actually constructive criticism, right?
There you go. Constructive concerns. Yeah, absolutely. So anything that you feel like, oh, well, you know what, this was kind of different, kind of made the game a little different. Not sure if I like it, absolutely share that. We're not here to bash GW. I mean, of course, they can get under our skin every now and then, if we're doing certain things. But you know what? Like I said, we can just try to keep it positive and see how we can roll with the punches, I think.
Marine says, hey guys, happy Fridays, guys.
Thanks,
Good to
man.
see you, my brother.
Hey, bro.
G says, I'll hopefully be having a combat patrol game with James soon. James who? I'm not sure. But great. I look forward to hearing about your 10th edition experience. Win or lose, I just want to move some plastic and roll some orc dice.
Dude,
Whoa.
that's the way to think about it. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I want to do too. Just want to chuck some dice. Throw some ones, baby.
And nobody can throw ones better than you, my brother.
Hell no. I'm the ones master. That's that.
James Workshop.
Nice. Before it gets away from me, guys, I wanted to also, because we haven't done it in a while, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, but we're going to try to go back to doing this, and if you're new to the channel, or, you didn't catch the earlier part of the show, we're going to try to get back to doing the Art of the Week. I think that's like one of the most probably important parts of the show, because we get to showcase a lot of the artwork, a lot of the hard work that everybody puts in the community into their models or whatever they're doing. It could be anything, as long as it's related to what we do. So if you've got any pictures of your minis, you've got some whips, some work in progress, if you got something that you just want to share with the community, please, by all means. And by the way, don't be afraid of, it's like, oh, it doesn't look great, or is it? We celebrate, all levels, because we are all at different levels. I don't consider myself a great painter. I just enjoy the hobby, and that's what we're doing. We're celebrating the hobby. We're not here to bash or to critique someone's, bad performance or whatever. We like to celebrate with you the fact that you are at least hobbying. You're putting paint to model, and you're enjoying it. So share your stuff with us. If you're not on the Discord, we can get to that information, and that way you can share the Discord.
We're on Facebook.
Yep, we're on Messenger. Yeah, definitely.
You can
Facebook.
email us at an overly pretentious email, frost.and.fists@gmail.com.
This is true. That's exactly the email. frost.and.fists@gmail.com. And just you can send us
mother truck.
and you can send us your submissions, and what we'll do is we'll go ahead and showcase it. We usually spend about 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, going over Art of the Week, and it's a lot of fun. We get to, find our brushes and that we're going to plan to burn, and we all burn them collectively, because some of the stuff that we see is like freaking amazing and totally unfair. You're like, oh my God, how can it be so damn good? So, yeah. So please, go ahead and showcase. Send your stuff in, man. We really like to see your stuff and want to showcase it.
Freak. Don't be afraid to show your stuff. We celebrate all skill levels. Also, freak. When we see some of this stuff, guys, we're going to burn our brush.
Wow, anything sounds crazy when you say it like that.
There's Instagram, too. Yes, you can send us your stuff on Instagram.
Sweet, yep, there's a Discord.
Oh, of course. Minnie, always.
Why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Hellwork says, yay, paintbrush bonfires.
It's just amazing, some of the stuff that we've seen in the past, man. It's like,
oh, absolutely. And to add to that, of course, some of the reasons we get bonfire worthy stuff is because we're just blown away. Some people don't always share their own work, They share pieces that they found online that inspire them, which we totally encourage. However, if you do that, please include it, like if it's a screenshot or whatever. If you can just include the name of whoever
we got to give credit.
Yeah, we have to get credit. We don't like showing off. We don't like showing off work with people that we have no idea who it is. Not because we don't want to celebrate their work, but we don't want to, show off their work without giving credit where it's due.
Right. If we're gonna give it, if we're gonna get airtime, then they need the shout out. So. Says no text channel. What was he referring to?
No text channel. Wait, let me click on this thing.
I'm gonna go
Open
to
app.
the to the thing here. There is the
what I linked
channels.
Yeah, so what I linked was our general chat, but there should be like a whole bunch of channels there.
Yeah, if you go to the main into that main page, you should be able to see a bunch of different channels. There's a Whip It Good, which is a really good one. There's Finished Projects. Let me see.
At the very top is the Art of the Week submissions.
Oh yeah, there you go. Let me see. How far back are we? Good God.
Yeah, you can show off some of the stuff there in Whip if you like, or Finished Projects.
Oh yeah, we've okay. Yeah, definitely put it there. And then and like I said, we'll showcase it. Just get your popcorn and your bonfire ready, and we'll just we'll go through them. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Trust me, man. When we see some of the stuff that people have painted, we all say the same thing.
Do you need me to try relinking it, my brother?
Were you able to find it? Mini Woman?
Let me link again.
I don't know, Hellchild. I mean, they're both are going to be good. I'd say try the Nids because that's one of them that are being really showcased hard this edition.
Link it good. Do 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 do.
Meow meow.
Share that link. All right, attempt number 2 at sharing the link.
The link.
Now sharing link. I've got the 8-bit Legend of Zelda music stuck in my head. Do 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 do. I was going the salt and pepper route, but Devo works too. Oh, you were going push it with salt and pepper. Dude, do 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 do. Link it good. Do 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 do. And link it real good. Do 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 do. Hey, it's a mini warm-up. All right. Hey, he is in live on the air.
What?
Let's turn this out.
All right, Bobby.
So actually, before we get to closing thoughts, I do want to show that I was working on for our friends across the pond, a Minotaur.
Oh, that's sexy.
This evening. And so I got the chainmail painted. The gold is like I said, a little black and white, and then I've got just a thin layer of Vallejo magnesium for some shine, and then I've got some of that Nasdrag yellow that I spilled all over my hands on here. And then I'm going to do the cape and what's the battle skirt called? It's called a falding, right? I'm going to do the little battle skirt there in red. Yeah. And then the snoot of the Minotaur is actually all like bone looking. He looks like a bit of an undead kind of Minotaur, so that'll be cool. Anyone interested, tonight after the show, we will be, well, I've got, at least so far, Ybird, and I will be doing a paint and chat. I'll post the link to it in Discord and on our Facebook, and yeah, anybody can just hit us up. Let me know if you're interested.
Awesome. I got an early ride tomorrow. It's going to be me, Brother Oni, and my wife. And we're going to actually take a ride up to Navasota, go eat breakfast there, and then ride out a little further east, and then we'll make a whole loop about it. It's going to be fun, man.
Nice.
Do the whole motorcycle-y thingy. Can't wait.
Overall, you can tell we're both very cautiously optimistic about 10th. There is some things that, like Freak led with, some things just feel like change for the sake of change. I've been so busy unpacking, I think I'm going to pass out after this. Brother Zane, get that rest if you need it.
Hell yeah, man.
Oh, and thank you for the looks neat. Good to see you, my friend. Get that rest. Yeah, we're both cautiously optimistic. There are things that just feel like change for the sake of change. And for the longest time, I was the biggest one on that, anti-change for the sake of change train because, it felt like I only functionally had the Imperial Guard Codex for 6 months, maybe 5. And so I'm like, oh, God, I wish I had this Codex longer. But I'm trying to get out of that funk. And like the guys in Tabletop Tactics, stop treating it as what's different from 9th and just start looking at 10th as its own fresh thing.
Yep. Totally agree.
G says my laptop sound is effed, or else I would join. Oh man. Well, I regret not being able to hang out with you this evening, but man, I totally understand. Hellwork says he'll be doing orcs. Yes.
There you go. Hey, decision made. Good job.
Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight and talking with us about 8th, 10th edition. You get some experience. Let us know. Hit us up in our Discord or Facebook, or even down in the comments what your experience has been in 10th edition. Jesus.
Really want to know. So.
If you guys like this episode, please make sure that you grab up an ox and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. Drop us some comments down below. And feel free to be in part of any, and feel free to be part of any of tonight's conversations. And if you guys are not yet subscribed, if you guys are not yet subscribed to any of our friends of the Frosted Fist, down in our link tree below, and if you're not yet subscribed to this guy, then Freak and I would love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist, so subscribe. Until next time, guys, stay frosty.
Stay frosty. Moo!